morning, Reptilians. Welcome and welcome back to the channel. So this week is coming up on Christmas. So if you celebrate that, merry early Christmas. And if you celebrate other holidays, happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, happy whatever it is that you celebrate. Since the holidays are coming up, I thought that it would be kind of on topic, like a little tiny bit maybe, to do a Craigslist shopping guide, for lack of better words. Basically, what you should look for, what you should do, tips, all of that for buying reptiles on Craigslist. Before we get started, this video is sponsored by iHeartGecko, so make sure to stay until the end of this video to find out all about this amazing company. Let's get started. So first of all, things that you should be aware of if you're going to buy an animal on Craigslist. There are going to be a lot of sick animals on there. This is just the way it is, unfortunately. So if you are going that route, make sure that you either are very aware that you very possibly could get a sick animal, or that you are looking for all of the signs that we're going to talk about here in a minute to make sure that you are getting a healthy animal. Another thing to be aware of is if you are buying animals with tanks or even just reptile tanks, things like that, it's probably going to be a whole lot cheaper than it is going to be if you buy from a breeder, or if you try to go to like a Petco, PetSmart, whatever, and try to buy a whole setup. For the most part, going the Craigslist route is going to be a lot cheaper. It's going to save you so much money if you get a healthy animal, that is. Also, please be aware if you are buying an animal off of Craigslist. Everyone should know at this point what Craigslist is, but just to throw this out there, you are going to have to go and meet this person and pick up this animal. Please make sure you are being safe. Please make sure that you are meeting in a public area, or you have someone with you, or people know where you are, or something. Please make sure you are being safe if you are going down this route. So you are looking into animals, and now you are looking for what it is that you need to be looking for in these animals. Quick disclaimer, this section is not meant to say that you shouldn't get sick animals off Craigslist. If you want to rescue animals on Craigslist and rehabilitate them, that is so amazing, so awesome. This is just helping you to know either how to get a healthy animal if that's what you are going for, or to help you know what you are getting into in terms of, is this animal sick and will I need to take them to the vet? So the number one thing that you're going to look at is weight. The weight of the animal. If the animal looks very underweight, if they're very skinny, especially when we look at things like leopard geckos, if they have tiny little tails, anything like that, you are going to have to do some work to get it to a healthy point. On the same topic of weight, you also have stunted growth. If you are looking at an animal and it says that this is a 2-year-old leopard gecko and it's tiny, then that means that that leopard gecko's growth is stunted because it hasn't been cared for properly. Look for anything like curves in spines, weird walks, if they look like they're walking on bendable elbows, overbites, underbites. Those things are very indicative of metabolic bone disease, which means that a lot of effort is going to have to go into this animal to help them get back to where they need to be because they weren't being supplemented with calcium correctly. This isn't normally as simple as just starting to give them calcium. Usually this means that you have to take them to the vet, and it also can mean that they have that irregularity, like a curved spine forever, even when they do get to a healthy point. So all those are things to keep in mind. Missing toes, arms, tails, anything like that. If it's really fresh, this is very important because that means that they need to be treated so that they don't get an infection. Stuck shed. So I have seen animals on Craigslist that just have layers and layers and layers of stuck shed all over their body, and this is not good. This means that you are going to have to take quite a bit of extra TLC for that animal and put them in baths every day, soak them, sometimes get shed helpers. Just do everything that you can to get that shed off, because until that shed is off, circulation could be getting cut off, especially if the stuck shed is around arms or toes or tails, and they could be on the verge of losing those limbs if it isn't taken care of. Any kind of mucus around the nose or the mouth, or any kind of like respiratory sounds like sneezing or wheezing, that animal has a respiratory infection and they will have to be taken to the vet to be given the proper medication and treatment for that. Really big thing to look for, what does that setup look like? This a lot of times will tell you so much that you need to know about the shape that this animal is in. If their setup is right, if they have a bearded dragon with linear UVB lights and a heat bulb, and they have hides and they have food bowls and stuff in their tank, normally that animal's probably good. If you are looking at a bearded dragon that has one bulb on their tank and the tank is small and there's leftover food and stuff in that tank, then you know that most likely some work will need to be done on that animal to get them where they need to be. So the setup is going to tell you so much about how this animal is doing. And the last one, which is something that I feel like I shouldn't have to say, but I apparently do. Does this person know what the animal is? That is a huge indicator that they haven't done their research and they have not clearly been taking care of this animal like it's supposed to be taken care of. So huge red flag. And if you see that someone is selling, another one I've seen a lot is a fancy leopard gecko, then that means that this person has bought this animal from PetSmart or Petco, because that is who refers to them as fancies. That usually is also an indicator that they haven't done any more research outside of what was told to them at the pet store. So that is something else to be very much aware of. Questions to ask when you are looking at these animals. Number one, are they eating? What are they eating? And how much are they eating? Very important to help you in transitioning this animal to a good habitat, and also it could show the indication of if this animal is healthy. Again, Winter, my leopard gecko that came from Craigslist, was being fed dried mealworms, and so I knew that that wasn't okay, so I immediately got him on real mealworms. But if it's an animal that's being taken well care of and you get a bearded dragon and they're like, oh, his favorite food is dubia roaches, then you can start out by feeding him those to make his transition a little easier. It's also very important when it comes to snakes. It might tell you what size this animal will take, but it also will tell you if they've been feeding it the correct size. Just like in the last category, setup. You need to ask about the setup. You need to ask what kind of lights. You can even ask for a picture of the setup if you would like. And again, that's going to let you know if they have been getting the proper heating, the proper lighting. Ask if they have been supplementing these animals. Has this bearded dragon been getting calcium? Has this bearded dragon been getting multivitamins? And if you are getting a morph of animal that may be problematic, then definitely ask morph specific questions. If you are getting a spider ball python, for example, ask the person that had it, does this spider ball python have a wobble? Do they have problems with aim? Are they eating? Same thing goes with some leopard geckos whose morph could cause them to have seizures and problems aiming and grabbing their food. Make sure you are asking. This was never told to me, and so I had to just kind of figure it out as I was in this reptile world. But if you're getting a certain morph of an animal, just do a quick Google search on that morph and see if that animal has issues. Spider ball python issues or banana ball python issues. Just look up the issues that that specific morph may have. Tips for bringing home animals from Craigslist. Biggest tip is to immediately take them to the vet, or at least take a fecal sample from them to the vet. If you get an animal home and they're not eating, because a lot of times they won't because of stress, your immediate reaction is, oh no, there's something wrong with my animal. And if you have taken a fecal sample into the vet and they have cleared it of parasites, it takes so much stress off of you. It also a lot of times takes stress off the animal, helping them acclimate as well, because you're not there poking at them and opening their tank and constantly checking on them and being worried about them. Taking that sample to the vet makes everyone in this situation feel so much better. And then as for after that, my biggest tips are just normal tips for when you bring an animal home. Don't handle them the first day. Let them get acclimated to their enclosure. Don't stress out if they don't eat the first day. I've done a couple of videos on things like that, and I'll leave one here. But yeah, just basic, just bringing an animal home sorts of procedures. And the last section of this is to be aware that there are a lot of scams on Craigslist. I don't know why, but people love trying to scam people on Craigslist. And yes, this even happens with the selling of live animals. Just last week, I was looking into getting a scorpion for my son, which I'm pretty sure I've listed on animals that I don't want list, but he is super fascinated with them, so we were looking into getting one. So I immediately went to Craigslist to see what was available since we haven't been able to go to reptile shows, and immediately they were asking for a verification code. That is a really big scam on Craigslist. Do not do that. If someone asks you for a verification code, definitely do not send them a verification code because they will steal phone numbers. So do not do that. Other scams can be found by just searching Craigslist scams, but really big ones are shipping. Don't ever let someone on Craigslist ship things to you. Don't wire people money to send things to you. Don't accept cashier's checks or anything crazy like that. And of course, don't give out any kind of personal information. Don't give out bank account numbers or your personal information. Please don't do that. Just be careful. And if you happen to drive somewhere to meet someone to pick up an animal and they don't show up, it is super frustrating. I know it's so frustrating and it's irritating and it's time wasting. That does unfortunately happen on Craigslist. I don't understand why people care so little about other people's time, but that is something that does happen. And if that does happen to you, just know that I am so sorry, and virtual hugs? I don't like hugs. But that is it. That is all of the tips that I have for you guys, and I hope that if you are getting an animal off of Craigslist, first of all, congratulations on your new animal. Second of all, good luck with everything, and I hope whether you are rehabilitating the animal or you are getting a healthy animal off of Craigslist, I hope that all goes well for you and that animal. Don't forget to comment down below if you've ever gotten an animal off of Craigslist and how did that go for you. Like I said at the beginning of this video is sponsored by iHeartGeckos. iHeartGeckos is such a wonderful company that makes conversion kits. Basically what they allow you to do is take any old aquarium that you may have laying around and turn it into a vertical standing tank for an arboreal reptile. They also have kits that turn old aquariums into horizontal front opening tanks as well, if that is what you need. But these kits are awesome. I have had my Gargle Gecko here set up in one of these for over a year now, and it's doing great. I posted on Instagram just the other day about all of the hundreds of baby isopods that have bloomed in there, and all the plants are doing great. I love it so much. They allow you to get these awesome tanks at super affordable prices because you could literally go to Craigslist and get an old tank and turn it into one of these awesome front opening tanks. If you do go and order from this amazing company, make sure to leave Elle's Reptiles in the How Did You Hear About Us box so that they know that you guys are coming from here. Thank you so much to iHeartGeckos for sponsoring this video. As always, if you have not already, please feel free to follow me on my other socials and like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications every single time I put out a new video, which is every Sunday and some Wednesdays. This week's Instagram shout out goes to Swaggles MF Jackson. That is quite the name for following me on Instagram and going through and liking a whole bunch of my stuff. And this week's subscriber shout out from last week's video goes to Mariah Rose for following me for quite a while and commenting on that video. Thank you guys both so much. You are the bee's knees. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye. It's fine. If you celebrate Happy Christmas, Happy Merry Christmas, Early Christmas. So this week, aware that if you are buying something off of, also please be aware that is super and around into a vertical. Basically what they allow you to do is take any old tank that you may have